Hello, and welcome to another episode of Must Talk About Nothing, a show about movies, music, and more, where we continue on our endless journey in search of something to talk about. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Bricker Builds. Go check them out at brickerbuilds.com and use promo code MuchTalkLego for 5% off your order. That also helps us out. Anyway, who is this mysterious us I've been talking about? Joining me, if you're watching on video, you can already see his smiling face. It is Grant Skillen. How you doing, Grant?
Stonewall is doing well. How are you doing?
I am doing very well. I'm excited to be talking about these batarangs today.
I'm excited too. I'm so happy I've got them displayed wonderfully on these cardboard boxes on my bed.
I've got them right behind me. But these things are works of art.
They
Um,
absolutely are.
so if you've been listening to the show, which let's be honest, you have, because everyone that's cool does, you will remember the interview we did with Tyler Da Silva a couple of weeks ago. Um, Tyler designed these things. And I don't know if you saw, but when they ship them out, they come with these little designer notes. And they essentially say, like, hey, Tyler Da Silva wants you to know you can beat the Joker with these things.
And I mean, if you look at this one right here and these little pointy tips, backside of it, you see these pointy tips right here. That wouldn't surprise me.
You could take someone's eye out, kid. Um, no, but they're like super well designed. So Grant, do you want to kind of talk about the quality of the instructions first?
Yeah, the instructions are very high quality. There's a parts list to make sure that we actually got all the parts you needed. And then the instructions are pretty clear. There were a couple times where it was like just like where it just shows where a piece went. So for example, I'll grab this one. So you can see on the back, it's got these, I don't know the exact term for this, but these were like for little grips. And the instructions were clear, but on these, it was kind of hard to figure out where exactly they wanted them to go,
Yeah.
just because there's so much space.
You have to kind of count studs on the back.
You do, and I think I misplaced a couple my first time, but other than that, which that's not really their fault. That's just look at the back and all the studs.
Grant just isn't a good Lego builder.
Okay, yes, but no. I'm holding a battering. Watch out. Um, no, but overall, the instructions are great. The designs on them are great, help you know where the pieces are supposed to go. And like I said earlier, the parts list helps you to make sure you have all the parts before you start building.
Yeah, and I think that they are fantastic. Mine actually came with a couple of extra parts. I don't
Mm-hmm.
um but like I absolutely love it. And I honestly, in terms of instructions, I think this one, the Keaton one, is the better layout because you can like kind of follow everything a little bit better. But I love how grippable they are too. Like they're just so wow. It's
Yeah, so when looking at the actual designs, I liked this one more. You can see Grant can't see because you're looking away, but I actually liked this one more in the design, the newer one. But actually building them, I do prefer the Keaton one, the 89 one,
yep.
because of what Grant mentioned, where it's so easy to grip. It feels like you have a natural grip, and I can go beat up my brother in the other room.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Grant's brother. Now, I would say the Nolan one is not hard to grip at all. You just kind of have to you just grip it like that,
Yeah.
that. It's not
Yeah, but it
used to
looks
video
less
yet.
intimidating than this one does.
That's true, but it looks. I mean, they're both super movie accurate. Grant, I'm going to go ahead and create some editing for you. Um, if you can superimpose a picture of the regular one,
No.
yes, for both of them, you can see how accurate the things are. But like they build really well. They feel really good in your hand. Like they're just sweet. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. The instructions are fantastic. First off, but
Mm.
in terms of the actual like build, Grant, what do you have to say? Like, what are your thoughts in terms of actually putting the things together?
I mean, they were super easy to put together. I kind of had fun because when my brother builds Legos and he builds more than me, he has a couple paper plates that he specifically keeps. I didn't have that, so I just dumped all the black pieces onto my black desk and went and have fun.
I
So that was my doing. But all the pieces were there. It sounded like they were for yours too. I had a couple extra pieces. I was trying to look for those a second ago, but couldn't find them. I know there's somewhere on my desk.
I had
Um,
a mild panic attack because of the extra pieces. I'm like, what did I miss?
I had that too, but I mean, when you look at the build, this one's super small and slick. Like this is my hand here. It's most of it, and then you can kind of see here, like if you watched our Tyler episode, just how thin this is.
Yeah, it's like
It's
three. It's a full brick tall.
yeah, it's three of these little small
It's three
ones thick.
plates.
I'm
Yeah,
not including I'm not including these in that thickness because that's just a little grip. If you include that, it's four. But it's so thin, but it's so sturdy, doesn't flex really at all. It feels like when we were joking, it feels like I can put it through this wall right here if I wanted to.
yeah. And one of the things I noticed is I actually traveled with mine, so I took it down because you got to show it off. I took it down and showed it to my grandparents, and threw it in a backpack and carried it down in a car. Took it out. Everything was still intact. Yeah, they're super sturdy. As far as the actual build goes, the instructions are easier to follow, but like some of them are still pretty challenging. Like this, like the Keaton one here, like like everything is hanging on by one stud until the very end. And so
Mm,
it's a fairly challenging build to figure out exactly where everything goes. And you've got like all these little spikes and things. It's a very well done, well designed. Like I said, it's challenging. Honestly, this is to me is the better of the two builds as well. Um, they're both fantastic, but in terms of that, we kind of we're retreading there. I'll just keep this one in my hand. Oh, they also come with little stands.
oh,
I'll
yes. You can see in the background and what he's holding up, they come with nice little stands. I think it's the same stand for both of them.
It is exactly the same stand for both of them, and that's even better because you can just pop it on and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about which one's which. But they're like really well designed, look like they would fit in Gotham, like they're kind of that same style. I love the little line going up the middle. It's honestly just a really neat touch. I'm glad they included.
Yeah. And the Keaton one, it's kind of hard to see on the video. It is ever so slightly thicker. In most places, it is actually still three layers, but it does have
It's
some places on the top where it gets to four. So slightly thicker, but absolutely not a deal breaker. Still very light, easy to play with, and more menacing. And like you can grab here, it's like a little grip. I can just grab right here.
Yeah, and you could throw it. Like I've thrown them. I actually went out and threw them. They
We need
hold
to get a
together.
video of throwing it.
I threw it into my bed. I'm not gonna pretend like I chucked it, but no, like you can throw them. They fly. And then as far as like displayability goes, they're they look like collectibles you'd go out and buy for the $100 replicas that Hot Toys sells or whatever. Like they're
Especially when you put them on cardboard boxes on your bed, it makes them look even more extravagant.
right, but I'm superior, guys, because I've got them in front of my giant Funko Pop wall. There's a Batman side of things here somewhere. Right there. There's Batman, Dark Side, all the way
Oh,
up. Yeah. So, Grant, do you think there's any? I mean, they're Legos, right? Like they're
mhm.
awesome Legos, but there's not a whole heck of a lot that you can just sit here and be like, these things are X, Y, and Z. I will say the build experience on both of them is just a lot of fun. I felt like Batman. I want to
I
pull
am
out my
Batman.
I want to pull out my Batman suit. Not even gonna lie. Um,
Please don't. You're wearing a Captain America shirt. What are you doing?
I don't know. Um,
You're
but
a traitor.
I am a traitor. I'm a big Batman nerd. Anyone that knows me knows that. And I'm currently sitting in front of my Dark Knight trilogy on 4K. So proving it. Anyway, yeah, so they're fantastic build qualities. I would highly suggest them to anybody who is, even remotely a fan of Lego. If you're just a Batman fan, which I mean, I'm assuming a lot of people are. I don't know why you wouldn't be a fan of Lego, but even if you're not, they are Batman. They are like
Mhm.
quintessential Batman. They are super high quality. They're everything you would need in a Lego set. Um, Grant, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we highly recommend these too.
Oh, absolutely. Highly recommend them. And this, like I said, this one was my favorite. I can't get my hand flat. This one was my favorite at first when I was
Mhm.
looking at them, but actually having them in hand, I definitely prefer the 89 one.
Yeah. And speaking of Batman 89, we have a special announcement to make. We have Mr. Carl Newman, who was Michael Keaton's movement double in Batman '89, coming on the podcast here in a couple of weeks, which may or may not be why we got these batarangs sent to us by Bricker Builds. And you may or may not be seeing them again very soon.
Thank you to Bricker Builds for sponsoring this episode. If you like these and you want to get these, or if you want to get another Lego from their store, I recommend. Also, I don't know if they still have it, but Pokeball, if they still have it, highly recommend it. Anything else we can highly recommend is from the products we have. You can use code MuchTalkLego and you get 5% off, and it lets them know that we sent you there. We would highly appreciate it. And I'd also recommend you go check out our interview with Tyler DeSilva from a few weeks ago, kind of learn a bit more about the process of building and designing them and what goes into that, as well as some special projects he's been working on.
And like I said earlier, be sure to tune in here in a couple of weeks for our interview with Mr. Newman. And like Grant said, the code is MuchTalkLego at brickerbuilds.com. Thank you so much for tuning in.